Okay, so we just changed the audio of a person in the interview. Now we're going to go ahead and mask out their face so we don't know who they are. And we're going to do this two different ways, okay? The first way, we're going to mask the footage itself, and we're going to go ahead and track that mask so we can track their face. So we have this little blurred box kind of following their face around the screen. The second way is we're just going to create a blur. It's going to be much easier. We're going to create a blur over our entire footage. Okay, it may not be ideal, but it depends. Each way we do this will give us the solution that we need. One may look a little nicer than the other, so it's your choices to choose which one you would like to do. Okay, so with that, let's jump into Premiere and get started. All right, so here we are in Premiere. This time I'm in my editing mode, okay? And I've got my project interview up. And the first way we're going to do is just to basically track our footage. So I've got my clip selected. And I'm going to go ahead and apply an effect. So we want to look for blur. And this time I'm just going to search for it. So I'm going to go blur, B-L-U-R. And I'll scroll down. Unsharp mask, compound, Gaussian blur right here. Gaussian blur should work just fine for us. So I'm going to drag that out onto my footage. All right, and let's crank this up. We'll crank this up. Okay, and you can see we could just do that and be done with it, right? Well, let's change this up. I'm going to go ahead and create an ellipse just by clicking this little shape here. And you can see now it blurs out any section that I want to blur out. So I'm going to put this over her face like so. Drag it out. Okay, so I can get this as exact as I want or as rough as I want. It's up to you on how you want to do this. Okay. And this type of an effect can be applied to everything, including like the Lumetri color and whatnot. So now we've got this pretty much blurred out. I can adjust my expansion like that. Okay, that covers up her face. Where's the amount again? There we go. Just like that. Okay. So this looks good, but it doesn't, like, you can see how our person kind of moves a little bit, right? So let's go ahead and track this. So I'm going to start from the beginning of the clip, and I'm going to select my mask and make sure it's in line where I want it to be. And then I'm going to shut these off for now. All right. And then what I'm going to do, under mask path, I'm going to click this little play button. It looks like a play button. And that's going to track the selected mask forward. If I was at the end of my clip over here, I could track it backwards. So I'm just going to track it forward. All right, it's all complete. Let's take a look and see how it did.
Coaching that we got, the support that we got on our Facebook page, and helping each other bounce ideas off.
So that's pretty cool. It does a pretty good job at following my person right along, right? So that's actually really good. And you can see all of the different little keyframes it created here. If I zoom in, all those little keyframes for every single frame. So this is one way of doing this. Another way could just be, instead of tracking it and instead of masking it, just applying it all together to your entire image, which we did before we created the mask, right? But I find that this way it looks a lot cleaner, a lot nicer, rather than blurring that out. So let's do it the second way just to show you how to do that. So I'm going to delete my mask. We're going to back this up a bit. So just by applying a Gaussian blur, we could do this to our entire scene like this. And there you go. Very easy. You could apply this to an adjustment layer as well if you didn't want to apply it directly to your footage. you could apply this to adjustment layers. So maybe I had more than one interview. Maybe there's more than one interview that's being done, and so I could come here and create in my program monitor, go new, or my project panel, excuse me, say new adjustment layer, and I'll drag my adjustment layer out. And this is a good example because I've got two clips here, right? Well, I need them both to be blurry. So if I go to my adjustment layer and drag out a Gaussian blur, okay, you can see that both clips are blurry, right? So by using an adjustment layer, you can apply the same effect to multiple different layers below it. So if you add, let's say, a color effect, maybe you're color grading or color correcting, you could apply that to multiple layers below it, multiple pieces of footage that are everything that's below that will see that adjustment layer. Now you cannot track motion off of an adjustment layer because there's nothing that's moving, right? So if you want to do that tracking format, you need to apply that right to the clip and then track it on that clip. Okay, so that's important to know that. Okay, so now we know how to blur out a person's face. We know how to and track motion within Premiere for an effect. And we also know how to alter the sound of audio to change the pitch of a voice to hide a person's identity within our video. I hope this helps in your current project, and I will see you in class.